Okay, so I think I found a really good example of someone who started a YouTube channel about a year ago, and they went on Instagram to document their journey.
My name is Oliver. I work a corporate job at a tire shop. I absolutely hate this life. Yeah, I'm going to buy a sailboat and I'm going to sail around the world for the rest of my life until I die.
Only problem is he doesn't have money, and also he's never sailed before. So he quit his job, and he did have a 401k, so that's very lucky. Or, you know, he cashed out on it. And then for the first 6, 7, 8 months or so, he's learning how to sail in the Columbia River. That's no small feat in itself.
Every ounce of my body is soaking wet, but I'm having the time of my life.
I guess a few people must have showed him the ropes, so to speak, but a lot of it was learning on YouTube and just trial and error out in the river.
Getting that anchor up was a bit tricky.
When he did cross the Columbia River Bar, which is one of the most dangerous bars in all of the world with 2,000 shipwrecks up and down the coast, that was his first time actually in the ocean, was when he just went for it.
We're doing it.
And went to Hawaii. And that's the journey. And that's where everyone became engaged.
Hey, Oliver, it's Anderson Cooper. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, Anderson Cooper.
Hey.
Here are the lessons. So I broke it down into kind of 3 parts. So we'll talk about the engagement or the connection, why it went viral, the production, you know, how we actually shot and edited, and then what are the storytelling lessons. So just in terms of connection, you know, the key words there I think are humanity and humility, vulnerability.
I will not be the first to make this passage from the West Coast to Hawaii, but I will be the worst, without a doubt.
Authenticity. I hate that word authenticity. It's hard to use authenticity without sounding inauthentic, but it's really true. If you can come across, be yourself and make a connection with people, and to do that, you need to show that you can be wrong, that you don't know everything, that you are at once confident, but also worried at the same time that it all could go south.
This is either going to be the worst decision I've ever made in my life, or the best.
So there's just something really human and just quite real about Oliver and the way he comes across. Seems like, even if you never met him before, instantly you think, oh, this is a really nice guy, and you want to cheer for him.
Anything is possible. I am the example to that because I am so below average and I'm not smart. All right, I'm not saying that to like be deprecating. You see what I mean?
In terms of the vulnerability, it's not just being brave or courageous. It's being scared, and he admitted that he was very scared.
I'm very nervous.
It's being scared and doing it anyway, which is something we all can relate to. There's probably something in your life where this has happened, where you're very scared out of your mind, and you did it anyway. In terms of production, it's not slick. It's very simple, but that is actually really engaging. You don't need special effects. You don't need wipes. You don't need this. Just keep it simple.
I've sailed 1,000 miles today. And before that, the furthest I had sailed was 78 miles in a river.
But there are 2 things that he does that 90% of the people, at least people getting started with YouTube or making videos, and that is the sound is good.
Everything is getting rusty. Everything.
Sound is much more important than the visual. Visual should be good. We can deal with some shaky video or some low resolution or whatever, but we can't deal with bad audio. And he does a really good job of just, it's very clear. It's always easy to hear all his videos. And the other thing is, look, he says he's socially awkward by his own admission.
I can't speak in front of 5 people without my voice cracking.
So he's not always looking directly into the camera, but when he does look into the camera, he looks at the lens. So you're going to be better than 99% of the people starting out on YouTube or social media if you just look at the lens. That's very key to get that eye contact with the people on the other side. the origin story. So he does have a very compelling origin story, how he started, how he quit his job, but before that was a diagnosis on a rare condition. Anyway, it's kind of a scary diagnosis, and he talks about that. So that also is something that pushed him. So there was that aspect of it, but also the way he finally did quit his job, which he really wanted to do, but he kind of did something accidentally that sort of forced his hand. And it's kind of a funny story.
Am I fired? And he's like, well, we don't know.
He has a goal. So the whole goal was to sail around the world, but that's kind of too broad. So it's, it's get the boat, learn sailing, and sail to Hawaii. Took the sail from Oregon to Hawaii with his cat, Phoenix, which he repeated and repeated. That's the whole thing. Get to Hawaii from Oregon.
This is day 11, sailing from Oregon to Hawaii with my cat. Here we are, day 23, sailing from Oregon to Hawaii with my cat.
Now, getting to Hawaii isn't really the point. It's just like the ring in Lord of the Rings or saving Princess Leia in Star Wars. That's not what it's about, but we need that goal to keep things moving forward. In terms of stakes and the risk, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't take unnecessary risks, but this was a pretty high stakes. I think a lot of us, including me, would be scared out of our minds to sail alone in a sailboat, a relatively small sailboat. It's on the borderline of crazy. It's not irresponsible, but in my opinion, it's right to the edge.
Sailing can be very dangerous, especially with all the extremely heavy loads. If something breaks or if I get hit, and if I get hurt, I'm 1,000 miles away from anything, and I could be days and days away from help. So if I snap my arm in half, that would suck.
But he did study, he did prepare very well, actually. If you watch his videos, you'll see he's prepared as much really as he could. See, the thing about storytelling is you need a universal theme. The actual plot, so in his case, the plot is sailing, learning to sail, sailing to Hawaii. But it's the message or the universal theme, which in this case is person who hates his job, who doesn't like where their life is going, is asking, is there more to life than this? And then doing something really, really scary, really, really hard, and being scared out of your mind, but doing it anyway. And that's something that we can all relate to. And it doesn't have to be sailing. It could be whatever in life that we're going to pursue, something that's scary, and we push through it. So that's the universal theme. Well, great storytelling is about great change. And obviously Oliver was going through great changes from the time he quit his job, get a sailboat, learn how to sail, going through all the ups and downs there.
I have no idea what I'm doing. Sailing, working on the boat. It's an absolute shit show. But feel free to join along, critique me along the way. Maybe you learn a couple things as well.
But the actual journey from Astoria, or from the mouth of the Columbia to Hawaii, is all about change. And there were some ups and downs and at least 3 pretty scary moments.
For like about 2 minutes, I was, not having a great time. But it's been wild, man, crossing an ocean.
But there's a great change. One, he got from cold and gray Astoria, Oregon, to beautiful, sunny and warm Hawaii in about 24 days or so. So that's a change. So we see that change on the outside, but story is about change outside and change inside. And then our hero, in this case, Oliver and Phoenix, but especially Oliver, has gone through great change. He has more confidence now, you would think, a great sense of accomplishment. I mean, it's just an amazing transformation.
I beat my fear. I beat the doubt from everybody, from myself. I beat it all.
Well, in terms of his story spreading, it is remarkable. As Seth Godin likes to talk about, in the case of marketing, you must do something that's worth remarking about. And this certainly was. Many people have sailed around the world by themselves, and many people have sailed alone to Hawaii from the West Coast. So he's not the first person to do it. And if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of really cool people sailing alone or with 1 or 2 other people. And it's very interesting. He's not the first person to do it. That's not really the point. The point is it's a very, very difficult thing to do. And for him, it's the first time. So that's really what matters. It's not the sailing per se. It's not that he's any kind of hero. He'd never say he was a hero, even though he's inspired a lot of people. He did this mainly for himself, and he took us along for the journey. I think it was Martin Scorsese asked, I don't know, some video I saw once where he said it's really not about plot, right? I mean, think about it. You watch this. I've watched Jaws a million times. I love Jaws.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
We know the plot, but it's the characters that we're attracted to. So in the real life too, it's the same. It's not the plot. It's not getting to Hawaii, but it's now, in this case, Oliver. We go with him as his ups and downs, as he shares his doubts and his worries, his triumphs and his failures and his sense of humor with it. And we feel anxious as well because it's very scary. We can put ourselves out there with him. Now I mentioned Phoenix, the cat, the origin story behind that, right? The phoenix rises from the ashes, and Phoenix was found in a dumpster. So in a sense, he rose from the ashes, and he loves his cat, and it's always great. You see this in movies a lot. I remember in Spider-Man: Homecoming, where Tom Holland, well, Peter Parker, so there's a cat in the deli, so he just pets the cat, and that's really important. It shows us a lot of character because we know Spider-Man, he's going to be roughing up some bad guys pretty quick. But we know that Spider-Man is actually a really nice, compassionate person because, those are the type of people who would take time to go connect with a cat. But he didn't do it as a gimmick, even though the cat is really engaging and that really helps, it really attracts a lot of people to the story. But he had the cat, he had Phoenix a few years before he had this idea. In terms of his updates on YouTube, and especially on Instagram, you always wanted more. It wasn't too much. These are very short. I mean, stories have to be short that's the design of them. But that's the key with episodic storytelling, is that you don't want to be too long, so you want people to come back. Leave them wanting more. And these are important lessons for us because remember, we're not just concerned with presenting in the boardroom or presenting in the classroom or presenting on stage. But in this generation, it's all about how we can also document our journeys or our issues, make presentations, in other words, on camera. She's never been outside before. Hey, Judy. Maybe you'll meet Sailing with Phoenix someday.